Welcome, welcome, everybody. I am Karen, and I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. I love that song. To me, rock and roll really does speak freedom, and that song, especially to the freedom to be yourself and not want to lean into what others are doing or others are saying. So, I'm your facilitator tonight. Maya, as a lot of you have already noticed, is in the chat. We are as excited to work with each other as you are to have us work together because our schedules have not aligned in the last little bit, so we are thrilled to do that. If you last till bedtime, that is absolutely fair. This will be recorded, so don't worry. And Sarah, I'm sorry that you are dealing with electricity issues. And I can't remember who said that they were being unattended, they were unsupervised. I love that. So, is there anyone that this is their very first social with us? Anybody? Say in the chat, just say yes. Me? Okay, it looks like we have a bunch of regulars. Oh, hello from Puerto Rico. Awesome. Oh, and Dawn, I am from actually Angleton, Texas, but I am coming to you outside of San Francisco in Marin County. Little housekeeping, make sure your chat is set to everyone, especially if you're on an Apple phone or iPad. Sometimes it will reset. Of course, Maya and I are thrilled to have you chat with us. But if you're like, why is no one commenting on my comment? Make sure that it is set to everyone. We'll head through those community guidelines quickly. Be kind and courteous to yourself and others. That goes for every social. I don't think that this one is going to be a tearjerker, but sometimes my own emotions will surprise me and might surprise you too. So if something doesn't feel right to you, feel free to sit on it, coloring your coloring page, listen to the music, etc. It's absolutely fine. You do not have to finish your journal prompts in the time that we allotted. We just have an hour together. So always feel free to come back to it a later time or skip it. It's okay to do that too sometimes. Take care of your mental health. No promotions or spam. Respect everyone's privacy is like Vegas. What happens here stays here. You might actually see a Silk and Sonder person in the wild and you might know them outside, but what is happening here is a very vulnerable community and we want to make sure we protect that. No hate speech or bullying to yourself, to others, or to facilitators. Limit repetitive product and accessory questions. Those are great to put in Sonder Club. That will give you a lot of really great answers there. Unfortunately, Maya and I are contractors. We do not work for headquarters. So if you're having problems with your subscription, the only thing we can do is refer you to hello at Silk and Sonder. They.com. They are a 9 to 5 type business. So if you ever email on the weekends, please do allow them to get back to regular workday schedule to get a response to you. And then remember, Sonder Socials are a tool to help elevate your emotional health through the power of community, but you are always responsible for your own emotions, well-being, and decisions. And there's been times that people have been like, this isn't sitting right with me today. I'm going to log off and approach this later. And if that's the case, that is absolutely fine. You always need to take care of you. Okay, I'm looking to see what's happening in the chat. Okay, we're talking about the boundaries. Yep, we're going to be talking about the boundaries. It's going to be a little bit tricky. It was a little tricky for me, but we're going to work through it together. We're going to support each other. It's going to be fine, I promise. And we'll ease into it with the boundary part second. The first part is a little easier. So I think everybody's already aware that this month's theme is freedom, and that is what we're going to be diving deeper into. Our agenda tonight is we're going to do an opening activity. Remember, that can be done anywhere in your journal. It's not a printed prompt, and it's a really good one today. This is one Maya created, and it's chef's kiss, really good. Freedom journal prompts on page 14 is the one that we're going to be going through today, and then our boundary setting on page 16. So that is our agenda for tonight. So our opening activity. Remember, this can be done anywhere. It does not have to be done in your journal. Have you heard the story of the monkey trap? A hunter would put fruit or nuts in a jar with a wide bottom and a narrow opening. Soon, a monkey would come along and attempt to reach in and grab the treat and pull their hand out. But their hand was in a fist and it would not come out of the narrow opening. Instead of letting go, the monkey would scream and fuss as they continued to hold the treat, but refused to let go and escape. What are you holding onto in your jar, your life? Would you be free if you could just let it go? Bitterness, grudge. Oh, I'm a grudge holder. This one's hard for me. Hurt feelings, old beliefs about yourself. Draw a jar and list some things that might be in there that you are holding tight to. Now think of how those things let go. Write down some ideas of how to let go. So I am going to share Maya's beautiful example. I was going to do my own, but then I looked at hers and it was so much better than what I could come up with. So I'm going to share hers for tonight. So we've drawn that jar. If you don't like drawing, you don't have to draw a jar. If you're used to me and my socials, I don't like to draw, so I don't. I messed up. Yeah, we mess up. It's a part of life. Learning from the mistakes is a way that we can let it go. I have a brand new Pilates instructor and she's a marriage therapist. And she's like, my lesson, I worked so hard on it, it didn't go right. I'm like, were people safe? Did people move? Did they have a place for self-care? What more can you want? Like, celebrate when it goes really great, but nothing we do in life is ever going to be perfect. And we can't expect a perfect performance at our job, as a wife, as a mother, as a friend, all the time. So let's let that go. Let's let those unrealistic expectations go. Let's celebrate when we do awesome, and let's let go of the things that don't need to be let go of, because we are all human. People will make fun of me. This one I see a lot, and those of you who don't know, I own a Pilates studio, and it breaks my heart when I have a friend who watches my dog, my little Snickers, and she feels like she needs to lose weight before she can come into the studio. And I've tried to tell her all of those things, that it is not true at all. And we are very inclusive and opening. But that fear of being made fun of is preventing her from moving on and doing something that would make her body and mind feel better. And I understand that. I get it. Even as someone who has worked in fitness since I was 16, I don't have the typical fitness body of a Pilates instructor. I'm older. I have a tummy. It's okay. I'm okay with that. I kind of really like the fact that my people can see that I have a normal body and can do great things, like those women Olympians that we're seeing right now with all different body types performing amazing feats. But it's hard to let go of. People will judge me. They'll judge you if you do it. They're going to judge you if they don't do it. They're going to judge you no matter what. And Maya and I belong to a self-coaching group that called the School of Self-Image. And I'm actually going to share some of her work today about the red velvet rope when it comes to boundaries. But she says, it's not my business what other people think of me. They're going to think one thing or another. So it's not my business. So I like that. Let them. Let them. I will look stupid. Who cares? Everybody has to start as a beginner. I'm too old to. Maybe I'm too young to. Any of those reasons. Find examples of people who are our age being successful, younger, older, single, married, widows, cancer survivors. Find those examples. I might fail. And that's a really hard one. It's hard, especially if you are a people pleaser like myself. It's really hard to be okay if you fail. My husband we've been together 21 years and he is very much an entrepreneur. And I will remember very early in our marriage, within 10 years of, he did a startup and it wasn't successful and he lost investment money from family. And I was so ashamed and I felt such guilt. And for him, it was just another learning experience. He paid the money back, all was well, and he went on to have more successful companies. And he's a VP at a tech company at this point. So I try to learn those lessons from him. I don't deserve it. I deserve good things. Yes, we deserve good things. We don't have to earn it just by being here and being us. We deserve good things. I cannot wait. I'm going to put the prompt back up to hear how you relate to this prompt, what things you might want to let go of, and how that might change things in your world. I'll be back in a few minutes, and I'm continuing with that freedom rock and roll acoustic music for the night. You're giving me the feels. I wasn't expecting to be tearing up as I read this, but I did. Um, I relate so much to the Superwoman. I'm very lucky that yesterday I was able to host the social in the morning, and my studio flooded. My partner has had just had a hysterectomy. She went on vacation. Our first employee left us, and let's just say I ate pizza 3 nights in a row. And I know that's not good for my body. I know this. I'm a health coach. I know. And so I thought about our Eisenhower matrix, and I thought about how I could make it better. And now I can't spend $60 on salads for 2 days all the time. But I decided that I would absolutely delegate and let go of the perfect and let that happen and be able to help myself get recentered. And so as you're looking about letting these things go, maybe think about that Eisenhower matrix of what can you delete or maybe even possibly delegate in your normal life, even if it's just a one off. Um, I'm okay. Sarah's crying too. Okay, it's not just me. I also saw someone who I can't remember who it was, but they were talking about their payment for the car. It didn't get in the mail, and then like we ruminate on it, and we give ourselves all of this like guilt around all of it. And I just want to share with you. I shared this with Maya earlier. My husband is very much a perfectionist. He was an electrical engineer, and I thought because I went to the ER last week with hives from stress and all the things, I told you it's been a lot. Um, Going camping was a great idea. And so we have a Bronco and we have a rooftop tent that goes on top. And the rooftop tent weighs over 200 pounds. And thank God it was a dirt road. But as we went up an incline, that 200-pound tent slid off the back and we had to get it back up. The first time we tried to get it back up, it went over the top, down the front, denting the hood and sliding off into the front. The second time we controlled it a little better and we were able to make it through. But we can either laugh about it or we can beat ourselves up about it. So we decided that we would stop at a brewery to grab some food. And I had my dog with me, and they gave us a hotel, and we watched Dive In, the 3Ds, Dive In Diners and Dives, while we ate round table pizza because it was the only thing open. So I could have been mad at him. I could have, berated him for making a mistake of not screwing things on top, but I chose to let go and to have a good belly laugh and spend time together. And the night he reached across, and after 21 years of marriage, it doesn't always happen, but he held my hand as we went to sleep. So sometimes letting go can be a really good thing. And Sarah, we are very, very proud of the years that you have clean, and there should be only feel good feelings and no guilt about what it is that you have accomplished. So now we're going to dive into our journal prompts. I think these are going to be a little bit easier. I'm going to break it into 3 little sections. I did not have time, I'm sorry, to cut it into 3 little sections. So just stay with me. We're going to answer one, I'm going to share one, and then I give you time to work, and then the second, and then the third. So number 1, what does the feeling of freedom invoke in you? So my spirit animal is a fat pelican, flying over the water, diving, eating seafood, enjoying the sun, the water, and healthy food. So that's what it is in my mind. I definitely grew up on the coast in Texas. And so to me, that is freedom. Rock and roll, that is freedom. The freedom to be able to choose the music I want to listen to. Not that there's anything wrong with country music, but that's what I grew up around most of the time. And so that rock and roll just kind of gives me a little bit of an edge. So I'm going to play a quick song, and I want to know in the chat, what does the feeling of freedom evoke in you? Thank you, Kimberly. That was beautiful to read. The different interpretations of freedom, none of them are wrong or right. They all are just absolutely amazing. So let's dig into the second question on this page. When was the last time you felt a strong sense of freedom? Where were you? Who were you with? And what were you doing? Now, if you were with me yesterday morning, it's interesting. I am very much a wanderlust kind of person. I love to travel, I love adventures. And since owning this studio, it has really tied me down to the house. But what it was that came up for me is that I have the freedom to create classes and programs with my vision, being creative in playlists and movements. I'm not having to answer to someone else's idea of what it looks like. I can play Alanis Morissette and Nirvana against each other on a Friday night jump class. I can run a honey social where we make body scrubs and taste honey and make candles because I get to decide what it looks like. So I find it interesting, even though it's holding me and keeping free from that wanderlust, it's also allowing me the freedom to be creative. So I'm gonna go off camera. I'm gonna play another song, and I can't wait to hear when you have felt that sense of freedom. And if you find anything that is kind of like me, where they are kind of a juxtaposition to each other. I hope you guys are smiling as much as I am of reading these. I love, Gloria, that you are able to have that freedom with your husband. Oh, so nice. And getting out of a small town into a bigger city like San Francisco, I read some of it, spending time on your own with those cookies last night. My husband was gone and I watched. Did anybody remember the movie Drop Dead Fred? It was one of my favorites as a small child, and sat in bed and watched it. And that totally is freedom. It's a funny one. Of course, at that point, I didn't know Princess Leia was the actress and one of the actresses in it, like Carrie Fisher. Like, I was too young to know any of that. So let's go dig into the last question of this page. Such a good movie. Think of a time when you made a decision that felt liberating, even if it was difficult. What did you learn from that experience? Well, I mentioned that our first employee was not a good fit. Even though I've known her for over a year and we've worked together for a while, it wasn't working out. So, though in the short term, a choice for the studio means less time for business, the less stress will actually make it worth it, making choices for the long run and not to be short-sighted. So even though it was a hard thing to deal with, it wasn't what we expected on either of our sides at all. It definitely feels liberating and like a big weight's been lifted off my shoulder, because if it's not the right person for your company, you're just feeling it, even though it's giving me, I have to work more on Thursdays. Who cares? In the long run, it's going to be so much better. Okay. Can't wait to read what you guys are saying in the chat. So many brave people. That's exactly what I was about to say. Leaning into a different version of yourself in your sexuality, leaving an abusive marriage, setting boundaries with children when your body's not well. And I know how hard that is. All of that is just oh, it's beautiful. It was beautiful to absolutely read. Okay, it's time to dig into a little bit of the harder stuff, though I'm already tearing up from this stuff, but in such a good way. I just love being with so many wonderful, empowering people. So I mentioned before that Maya, and I want to be very, very clear, this is not my work. I took this work from Tanya Lee from School of Self Image. And this is some of her work. She has a podcast that is absolutely free where she goes deeper into the red velvet rope policy. So if this appeals to you, feel free to visit that podcast. I will say, besides Silk and Saunders, the work I've done through this membership has definitely changed me. It's not for everybody because it's like $100 a month, and I get that that's not in everybody's budget, but it has been worth it for me. So what is a red velvet rope? A red velvet rope is a set of rules that defines what's allowed and not allowed in your world. And that can be really hard because it can be between work, it could be between relationships, it could be with the kids, it could be with yourself, a lot of ways. Everyone has a different marker for the red velvet rope depending on their personality and values. A red velvet rope is not to be used to manipulate people, but to reinforce your boundaries. So, signs that you may be doing really well at setting boundaries: value your time and energy, able to say no without guilt, speaking up when treated poorly, believe your needs are important. And if you like the slide, take a screenshot of it. Leave unhealthy relationships. And we saw there's a lot of people in our community have done that. Attract emotionally healthy people, unapologetic about who you are. Selectively share your intimate details, meaning you're not blabbing all kinds of stuff all over social media. I see that sometimes. Makes decisions easily. Signs that you may lack a red velvet rope. You may reveal too much too soon. I know I definitely, in my younger years, very guilty of this. Letting other people make your decisions, even if it's as simple as what's for dinner. Why should what he wants be more important than what I want? Struggling with saying no. Accept unhealthy behaviors. Base how you feel on how others treat you. Feel others don't respect you. Trying to please everyone. I think a lot of us can relate to that one. Not being honest about what you want. Allow people to take too much. Lots of guilt and anxiety. Trusting others. Often blaming others. Fear of being rejected and abandoned. Accepting physical attention you don't want. Ignoring issues in the relationship. I think there is not a human alive who could not benefit from reevaluating their red velvet rope. Thinking about if you had that rope up, how might it change your life? Now, if we dive into the types of boundaries, here are some general ones. I needed to look at this list to kind of figure it out myself. So we have physical boundaries, protecting your personal space and your body. Physical touch, hygiene, all of those things. Oh, and I meant to mention I actually bought a little tiny diamond bracelet. It's literally a string of red with the tiniest chip of diamond on it. And when I'm struggling with boundaries, I will put that bracelet on as a physical reminder to help me do better with it. I don't wear it all the time. And the reason I don't wear it all the time is I want that physical reminder. I don't want it to be left behind. So I will put it on when I need it. Number two, emotional boundaries, protecting your feelings and emotional well being, sharing personal information, emotional support. Mental boundaries, protect your thoughts, your opinions, your beliefs. Examples. And boy, are we going to get into this with politics this season, respecting different viewpoints, avoiding mental overload, time boundaries, protect your time and energy. Examples, setting priorities, saying no, financial boundaries, protecting your money and your possessions. Examples, budgeting, lending money, digital boundaries, protect your online privacy and your reputation. Examples, social media use, sharing personal information online. So we are now diving into page 16. I'll share mine. Subscriptions. I love subscriptions, but they can be draining, especially when you see them arrive on your credit card and you don't remember that you had it. I want a boundary where I don't talk about cheat days. It's just giving my body what it wants on that day. It's not a cheat. There's nothing wrong with it. I can have the cookie. It's okay. I can have the pizza 3 days in a row. Now, when my stomach starts not to feel good, then I need to make another choice. But I'm not going to beat myself up about it. Saying no. That's a hard one. Rest days are okay. Yesterday was hard. I knew I was going to have to take the keys and give a last check. And I gave myself the permission to not work out that day, to take more time for my mental health. Setting hours that work in real life and setting up boundaries that if I am working till 8 p.m., I'm not taking a 6:30 a.m. private the next day. Set time per weekend for husband and wife time. That might be bonding time, it might be sexy time, whatever kind it is. But I'm noticing right now that we both live independent lives and we're having a hard time coming together in an intentional way, unless we're going somewhere specific. Protect my health over my business. This one's hard for me. Um, I was supposed to run book club at my house. I was supposed to teach classes Wednesday night, and I made the choice to go to the emergency room because I was miserable with the hives and it'd been 3 days and the antihistamines and such weren't working. So I'm doing that. I know we have some other people in our audience that may be interested in this. I am wearing a band called Visible, and it's based on the spoon where you only have so many spoons. So based on my heart rate and my HRV, it is going to help me pace it. And I'm noticing that it's a lot more mental than it is physical. So I'm trying to take some data to be able to create some boundaries. It's called Visible. I found it on Instagram. This is only day 5. We'll see, but I'm hoping that I will be able to manage not having migraine crashes. It's for a lot of like people with POTS or long haul COVID. Not answering text and calls outside of business hours. And to speak up when I'm feeling overwhelmed. That's hard for me to do. I think a lot of us have already mentioned that superwoman policy. My business partner and I have only had one fight since we opened in November, and it was, why won't you let me help you? I know you haven't had anyone helping you, but I can help you. So I'm getting better of setting boundaries and speaking up when I'm not okay. I'll go through those screens with the red velvet rope. I'm going to give you some time to. think that song is just such a beautiful way to kind of end this is I stand by you, but instead of us letting someone else lift ourselves up, what if we stand by ourselves? Like Kimberly said, putting that oxygen mask on first, taking care of ourselves. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's not easy. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be a practice. It's not going to be a destination. It's going to be a journey for freedom, for boundaries, for red velvet rope. Our time together is coming to an end. I hope that I get to see some of your pages in Sonder Club. I can't wait to celebrate you and read what you've written because I think it's been a very powerful hour. If you are looking more for some support with Silk and Saunders, you may have seen this slide before. Meha's looking to help and connect with corporate wellness programs. The response was incredible. The founders asked, are my way of bringing you into our mission to transform Silk and Saunders into a legacy brand that continues to give back to a world so desperately needs daily joys, confidence, and clarity. You can share her post or you can share that early bird promo code for 3 months. People are loving the personalized reading and the coaching plans, the daily and weekly habits. And there's a bunch of features that are also coming up. Also know that the stickers are awesome. They really are cute, especially the evergreen ones over here. They're really fun if you like to do the weekly setups and you utilize those. Refer a friend is still going on. 50, I think it's $10 off for them, $10 off for you. And then the upgrade will save you some money if you are able to do that and you were loving Silk and Saunders. And then tell us what you really think. If you want more journaling socials like this versus more setups, if you're still missing that cooking social, et cetera, whatever it is, they do look at it. And then remember, that is the YouTube link. These will be posted. There's over 800 socials there. So go ahead and find that. I'm going to throw my playlist into the chat. I'm all about it. I keep saying they need to create a poll and then we vote on the recipe and do a cooking social quarterly. I think it would be a lot of fun. I'm going to lead us out with a song that most of you are going to jam to, but I hope you take the message to heart. We're going to listen to Madonna Cherish, and I really want you to cherish yourself as you set up that red velvet rope.